Affluent Americans rush to retire in a life is short mindset. Well, that's good. Not sure why it's got to be contingent on being affluent or not, but let's dive into this. A couple of y'all had sent this to me from Bloomberg. The unprecedented surge in shares and home values during an economic crisis is easing the retirement path for those who have savings and investments. And here's this guy who used to be head of Craig DeLorenzo in Chicago. The former 3M executive retired in March at 58. All right. After a year of early morning Zoom calls, the specter of a deadly virus and a sort of a deadly virus. This guy isn't dying from the virus, all right? And soaring stock and real estate values, working American boomers who can afford it plan to get out while the getting's good. About 2.7 million Americans aged 55 and older are contemplating retirement years earlier than they'd imagined because of the pandemic. They're more likely to be white. Ooh, those evil white people. A group that typically has a larger amount of accumulated wealth, and many cite robust retirement accounts and COVID fatigue for their early exit. What the hell does being white have to do with it, fool? There's always got to be a racial thing. I like how, too, they're capitalizing the W in white. So what exactly is white? Explain that to me, Bloomberg. What is white? Huh? Freaking idiots. I'm just sick of that crap. Let's see. One thing they didn't say, if they're more likely to be white, is the woke crowd in corporate America. You see, they're more likely to be white. They're cite robust retirement accounts and COVID fatigue, but they're not saying about the woke HR people. That's for sure. Look, trust me, man. I hear from you all the time. It's freaking ugly out there. It's bad. Hang up your boots, man. Hang up your boots. Much like the U.S. economy. Much like the U.S. economy's K-shaped recovery, the pandemic is treating the affluent differently, empowering them to leave corporate life early. Others who lost jobs had to delay retirement or grew discouraged and retired before they were ready. Oh, gotta check my burgers. Retirements, whether desired or forced, will deprive the labor market of some of its most productive workers and have an impact on the economic recovery that is still too early to evaluate. Where are you going, big boy? Jerome Powell this week cited a significant number of people saying they're retired as one reason companies are reporting labor shortages. In the Minneapolis area, this guy Craig DeLorenzo is among those who chose to bow out after a career at 3M. Frustrated over 6 a.m. teleconferences, his thoughts turned to spending more time pursuing his outside passion, include volunteering with the Salvation Army. A scare with cancer 5 years ago made him reconsider his commitment to climb the corporate ladder, and the last year stuck at home only reinforced those feelings. Man, good, Craig. I love it. It makes you think, does all this matter as much as you think it does? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. DeLorenzo's cohort is one better known for hanging on to their jobs as long as they can, usually retiring later than the European counterparts. Their potential exits from the corporate world, combined with a sharp increase in the number of business owners seeking to retire sooner than they anticipate, is a worrying phenomenon for companies that rely on their accumulated expertise. So now the companies are going to... I got to move this way so Finney doesn't try to eat my food. Yeah, see, I can see him right there, what he's trying to do. You can see those burgers are tempting him. So now all of a sudden the companies are saying, wait, maybe we need you middle-aged white guys after all, because we know there is discrimination, man. And we know it's discrimination against all men who are older of all races. Absolutely. So we know if you're over 50 years old, there's a no help wanted sign on the door if you're a man. That's for sure, man. That's all there is to it. We know that. Everybody knows this. Only I'm the only one who has the guts to say it out loud. Everyone's like, no, we hire 50-year-old guys. I don't think so. All right. The prospect of going back to the daily grind is going to be a really tough pill for a lot of people to swallow, says this guy with a financial firm in Princeton. One client, an executive whose stock portfolio has performed well, is retiring at 48. The prospect of having to go back to work, traveling 10 to 12 nights a month isn't appealing. Yeah, wow. Was it ever appealing? Here's Melissa Martin in Newburyport, Massachusetts. We stay there. Look, with all those boats behind her. I love it. North Finnegan. She retired recently, about 5 years earlier than she expected. I don't know. 40 miles west of Boston, this lady, Melissa, got tired of working more with less as the pandemic dragged on. She helped oversee state parks. Some Massachusetts thing was tasked with hiring hundreds of lifeguards or other seasonal workers for spring. But even as people flocked to parks to escape the lockdowns, the state cut the seasonal administrative staff that helped her. She retired this year at 58, about 5 years earlier. Her husband also retired from his job at a financial services firm, and now the couple plan to sail the seas of cheese. Listen to Primus on the Way, if you know what I'm talking about. By exiting early, she'll collect a smaller payout from her pension, but the couple's other retirement accounts have ballooned. So we're going to be in the green until we're 92, she says. I've seen so many people decide to wait too long. Many of my colleagues or older family members, and they get 1 year of retirement and get sick and die. I don't want that. A November study from Pew found a surge in the number of baby boomers who reported being retired compared to previous years. I love it, man. 1.2 million than historical averages. Other data points back up the findings. The number of people expecting to work beyond 67 fell to a record low of 32.9%. About 2.7 million workers aged 55 and older are planning to apply for Social Security. Almost twice as many as 1.4 million people in the same group who anticipate working longer. That's freaking awesome, man. I love it. This unprecedented surge in shares and home values during the economic crisis is easing the retirement path. Assets for Americans aged 55 to 69 grew by $4.2 trillion in 2020, including a $2.2 trillion increase in corporate equities and mutual fund shares, and a $250 billion gain in the value of private businesses. Real estate assets have grown by $750 billion. So you got to own stuff. Don't be a loner, be an owner. Don't loan, own while you're building your asset base. Now, once you retire, certainly be a loner, and you still be an owner, but be an owner, not a loner. Everybody, not an owner. Be an owner, not a loner. Be an owner, not a loner. Once you're building up your assets, once you're on the other side, and decumulation, that's different. Hi, Pablo. Concern that some of that wealth could evaporate has especially weighed on entrepreneurs who've been through the Great Recession of 2008. The number of business owners who say they plan to retire sooner than expected has doubled since August. Dealing with two major economic events in less than 15 years may have them wonder if it's time to take the money off the table. Could not agree more. The loss of older workers will hurt the labor market. These guys have some strong productivity, lower absenteeism, and they can train and mentor newcomers to basically replace them. I know people who are literally training right now foreign workers who charge a hell of a lot less of a salary to replace them. I trust me, I know that. I talked to them. I'm replacing an Indian who's come here to work for a hell of a lot less than me. I don't blame the Indian. I blame the company, but that's what's happening, and I know I'm replacing him. I know he's going to replace me for sure. Sad, but the situation could become particularly acute in healthcare. Almost a third of physicians are over 60. Wow. Warning that burnout threatens to exacerbate an existing shortage. In Bethesda, Maryland, orthopedic surgeon Stephen Rockauer, while not young at 69, retired earlier than planned last summer after the pandemic. It scared away many of his patients. I realized that whenever things did turn back around, I didn't have it in me to fight to build the practice back up. That's good. I like it. Nurses are retiring like crazy too. I can't tell you how many nurses I talk to retiring. They're like, I'm out. I'm taking the money and run. It ain't that much money in terms of, some nurses have a small pension, a couple $1,000 a month, but they say, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm taking the money and running, and I'm going to retire, take my motorcycle up, in terms of go to Washington State or up to, whatever, the Upper Peninsula, all that stuff. I think it's fantastic. Could not be happier. There's going to be a huge nursing shortage, my friends. And you better be freaking prepared for that, because docs are leaving, the nurses are leaving, and you're going to be left with bad options. The best thing you do is get your health in order. All right. Well, let me hear what you say. Thanks now.